Hey guys, this is one of my favorite songs. It's by Five Finger Death Punch called The Wrong Side of Heaven. And Chase has never seen it.
I don't know it.
So he's never seen the video. He's never heard the song. He may have heard the song on the radio, not sure. But we're going to watch the video and you're going to get Chase's first time reaction to this. I've probably seen it 100.
I spoke to God today, and she said that she's ashamed. What have I become? What have I done? I spoke to the devil today, and he swears he's not to blame. And I understood, 'cause I feel the same. Arms wide open, I stand alone. I'm no hero, and I'm not made of stone. Right or wrong, I can hardly care. I'm on the wrong side of heaven, and the righteous side of hell. The wrong side of heaven, and the righteous side of hell.
All right, so far I'm taking this mostly as a self-reflection on being, how do you put this, half-heartedly a good person. Kind of a good person by default. I'm not a bad person, right, is what he's saying. I'm on the righteous side of hell, so I'm not going to hell. And I talked to God, and God said we're the problem. I talked to the devil, he said it's not his fault. So it's speaking towards how simple it is to be bad by being not good, so to speak. The banality of evil. It's kind of what I'm taking from this so far. I'll keep going, but that's what I got kind of from the first verse and chorus.
Yeah, I have plenty of thoughts to share, but I want to keep going through.
Okay.
I heard from God today, and she sounded just like me. What have I done, and who have I become? I saw the devil today, and he looked a lot like me. I looked away, I turned away. Arms wide open, I stand alone. I'm no hero, and I'm not made of stone. Right or wrong, I can hardly tell. I'm on the wrong side of heaven, and the righteous side of hell. The wrong side of heaven, and the righteous side of hell. I'm not defending, downward descending, falling further and further away, getting closer every day.
All right, so another meaning I took from that second verse went a lot more into the military side, where it's like you're trying to go and do something good and you end up deep in a hellish existence, which is being obviously emphasized by the music video, speaking so heavily towards veteran homelessness and really the crisis of mental health post-military service. In war, even if you're fighting for the right cause, you will find yourself in hell because war is hell. That fair to say? And so this song where he's on the wrong side of heaven, he's not in heaven right now, he's not looking at it. He's on the righteous side of hell in that he thinks he's fighting for the right cause. I mean, both sides usually do think they're fighting for a good cause. But he's still in hell. It's not enjoyable. And it causes damage. It's not easy. The other lines that I thought were very interesting were looking at God, and God sounded just like me. I looked at the devil, and the devil looked a lot like me, and I had to look away. There's obviously multiple ways you can take that, and I've had like 3 or 4 different interpretations come through my mind while I've been watching this. The first interpretation that came through my mind is that you're looking at the internal struggle of right and wrong that goes through every human heart, right? You're looking at, I can choose good, I can choose bad. The representation of the good and bad in the Bible were men and women, well, not the representations of, but it was their experiences of trying to choose good and evil throughout the Bible, right? And what happens is those were stories that are told to help us choose one way or the other, to help us decide which way is the way we want to go with. But the reality of the situation is each individual has to deal with choosing right and wrong on their own. That was one interpretation. The next interpretation I took was, if you're in the military and you're facing down your enemy and you're about to shoot them, if you've been told they're the devil over and over and over, and you look at them and they look a lot like you, that is a big part of what causes the PTSD and damage in veterans. That they look at the other person and they don't think, you're the devil, because as soon as they look them in the eyes, they go, you look like me. I don't know if I can do this. You're trained to do it. You do the action you have to do, and in doing so, you see the evil within yourself, and it's terrifying. So multiple interpretations I've been taking from this song. I don't know what Five Finger Death Punch is intending, but I don't know. Just trying to express all the different thoughts that come through my mind.
Yeah, and I think along those same lines, when it comes to this sense of like right and wrong and choosing right and wrong, like we grow up seeing these clear-cut examples, and we're taught this like clear-cut, this is right, this is wrong. But when we get into life, it's very gray. And especially when you bring into like things like PTSD and stuff like that, it's like, well, if I'm doing the thing that's right, why do I feel so wrong? And if this is wrong, then why am I told it's right? And all these things, and it gets mixed and confused, and there's just a lot of confusion, I think, in that whole thing, right? We look at the devil and he's like, it's not my fault, or it's like, hey, you look like me, or this, and yeah. Anyway, let's keep going.
Closer every day. Arms wide open, I stand alone. I'm no hero, and I'm not made of stone. Right or wrong, I can hardly tell. I'm on the wrong side of heaven and the righteous side of hell. The wrong side of heaven
and then they spend about 2 minutes of their music video time sharing organizations that you can donate to or give time to help veterans. Like, I haven't seen a lot of music videos that take, what's that, about a quarter of their time just saying like, hey, here's how you can help.
Yeah, the other one we watched recently was by Bloodywood. They had the end of their song was very similar.
Right. So my wife is a trauma therapist. She specializes in military trauma and PTSD. A really good friend of mine started the Heroes Haven, which is the retreat. We actually interviewed him in our podcast that we used to do. And he's a military veteran himself, and he's served and helped many other veterans kind of begin their process of healing through PTSD. And it's a real significant problem, you know? And I think that the song, yes, when we listen to the song just by itself, there's a lot of different meaning that we can take from it. When we watch the video, it's like a very clear cut, like, here's what's going on, right? And we've seen a lot of music videos. And we've seen a lot of really good portrayals in music videos. But I think that this music video has some of the best portrayals of some of the more difficult human emotions that generally aren't sung about, or aren't maybe they are sung about, but aren't so easy to put into a portrayal like this.
Yeah.
And I think that this one nails that, like, solid, you know, from all the different things where they're in the battle to where, you know, the guy comes down seeing his friend on the street and he's like, no, look at me, like, you know, like eyes on me, you know, and seeing the torment and the pain, you know, we have like the soldier, the picture of his kid, you know, and the thing is with PTSD and trauma and stuff like that, a lot of homes get broken, you know, a lot of people do get homeless, there's just a lot of problems. And of course the suicide rate is talked about all of the time, you know. I think that this song and this video portrayed that and encapsulates that feeling so perfectly.
Yeah. Yeah, I watched the song and I've known about the veteran crisis for a while. I mean, I work not closely with. I work passively with people who are in the VA. We've done our episode with Frank, and we know the history of what's going on there. So that part didn't surprise me or impact me, I think, as hard as it would have if I hadn't known these things already. Mostly when I look at it and go, all of this damage that is taking place is a result of our actions. All this trauma is a result of our actions in not being better at preventing and stopping wars, in putting in place leadership who decides that war is a good thing, that we need to send our men and women over to go protect other countries because, I don't know, weapons of mass destruction is the first thing that comes to mind, but that was false, right? So we send these people over there, and it's not just the lives lost. The lives lost in these wars are a tragic statistic, but not nearly as heart-wrenching as the lives of those who are absolutely torn apart and they continue to live them. Now in a state that is completely damaged, all because we have not had the moral standing to say war is absolutely bad, stop it, to our people who we have put in power, to people who we have voted in charge. We're not telling them firmly enough that they need to stop this. This damage is not worth it. Quit now. It's a travesty. And the blame, it's hard to understand that the blame lies on us because it feels so many steps away from us. But in reality, where we are living in a country that is supposed to be driven by the people and for the people, we have not voted in a way that is going to reflect that. Or maybe we have subconsciously voted in a way that reflects that, and we have not collectively stepped back and said, these actions that are being taken that are in such obvious disagreement with my personal opinions, am I actually doing anything about it? Are we collectively doing anything about it? Or are we just accepting it as a way of life and saying, oh no, we're going to keep putting these same people in because they're my team?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I'm 100% on board with you about the whole politician thing. Obviously, like, war and negotiations and, like, international politics have a fair amount of nuance to them.
Of course,
I think, right?
Of course.
But yes, I think, like, on a fundamental level, you know, like we saw the retreat in Afghanistan, you know, like they're trying to show that as like, hey, look, we're ending the war, you know, but done in such a poor way, such a way that was terrible. Do you know what I mean? And so there's good and bad ways to do things. And yes, I think like any steps that we're taking, any good, useful, strategic steps that we're taking away from war is a good step to take.
Yeah.
Now, if we're taking like clumsy steps and giving bad guys our tanks and saying like, haha, peace, you know, that's not good.
I think it's pretty easy to argue that the U.S. has taken nothing but clumsy steps for a long time now.
A very long.
Like last time
I don't know about nothing but a fair, like,
last
in general.
time we won a war, and we've been in a lot of them, like constantly for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
Last time we won a war was World War II. We have strategically retreated from all of them since. We've been very clumsy about this, and there have been lives lost in cultures that we do and don't understand. There have been incredible damage to our brothers and sisters living here with us who have decided to sign on the line that they are willing to put their lives on the line. They're willing to put their mental state on the line, and we don't appreciate that sacrifice enough to try not to send them into those zones.
I think that right there is really important. I was just talking with my daughter the other day because she was saying that they're going to do a school concert for veterans, like for Veterans Day, to invite their veteran friends, and they're going to sing some patriotic songs and stuff. And I was talking to her about, look, these people are people who are willing to sacrifice a lot. You know, they're willing to put their lives at risk, as well as, you know, like they can be hurt, you know, because my wife's a PTSD therapist, right? Like, so she's talking too, like, this is what happens when things happen, you know? So they're putting a lot at risk. And yes, I wholeheartedly agree that it's important to express gratitude to those people for what they're willing to risk. But I think that one important way that we can, just like you said, express gratitude to them is by doing our very best to mitigate the risk that they're taking.
Yeah.
Right? It's like,
I feel like that is our job in the agreement that is being made. They're the ones signing their name on the line, right? But we have a responsibility in that agreement, even though we didn't sign up for it. There's a responsibility for us in that agreement to make sure that the minimal damage to the people who are willing to put their lives on the line is done.
right. I mean, that's what saying thank you for your service means.
Yeah.
Right? Like, thank you for your service. I don't care about you. Go do your thing. That's not real gratitude. That's whimsy. I don't care. That's aloofness.
I've always felt awkward telling people thank you for your service. And I think part of that comes from the fact that I know that I personally haven't taken enough action to actually feel like I have earned the right to say that to them.
Yeah.
And that sounds weird because so many people throw that out so callously.
Yeah.
I don't want that to be callous because their service wasn't callous. Right?
Right.
So.
Or casual.
Yeah.
You know? Like, it's meaningful. And truly, like, to all the people who do serve in the military and who have served in the military, like, and first responders and everybody who really puts their lives at risk all the time, like, we do truly appreciate what you do and what you've done.
A deep thank you. And now that you've heard the whole depth of why I have a hard time saying that, and I feel like I can say it in full context, thank you for your service.
So, anyway, go ahead and subscribe if you like this reaction, and we will catch you guys on the next one. And don't forget to watch the rest of the video, because we're going to play out the rest of it so you can see the organizations that they're talking about. You can also donate to Heroes Haven. I think it's the Heroes Haven. I'm going to look it up. Okay. Yeah, so it's the Heroes Haven, the Heroes, Heroes, Haven.com. And they're a nonprofit that helps veterans with different types of working on their healing through trauma. Anyway, amazing organization, amazing leadership.